head down, work hard. Growing up, I did not really embrace my Korean side. With a team so small, one wrong piece can really cost you. We're taking one of the iconic buildings of their town, pay people, living wages, give people health insurance. Those are all things that I care about. And it's also, I'm running a business.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to In the Weeds with Endwell Hospitality. I'm your host, Endwell Hospitality's brand director, Jack Dahlia, and this week we're back with part 2 of our conversation with our founder, Ryan Sohn. In this episode, we dig into why he founded the company, what he hopes to achieve, and our new projects developing in California. If you haven't heard part 1, you can find it in our feed, and if you're all caught up, here's more with Ryan.
And so, California is, we're taking over the iconic Palms building in Carpinteria. And so we started with the farm. So we have Rincon Hill Farm. That is, 7-acre farm that was avocado orchard when we took it over. And so we've kind of turned it over, and so now it's a regenerative farm. It has about an acre of avocados still on the property. But the idea is that we'll grow all of our produce for the restaurants at the Palms. And so the Palms is a really large building. It's 2 floors. And so when we looked at it, we're like, Daniel's strong suit and his background is fine dining. So we always knew we were going to do a fine dining restaurant. And, with how successful Rigger Hill Market was and is, it makes sense to kind of, let's do something similar in a California environment, not an urban environment, and kind of do a similar style of market. So we have like a little side building that's attached to the Palms. That'll be the Rincon Hill Market.
Great.
And then, the second floor is going to be our fine dining restaurant, name to be determined.
Stay tuned.
The first floor, we're like, we should do, it needs to be a casual restaurant. Like, what do we want to do? And, we decided, Santa Barbara, doesn't have any Korean food. And you know what? Let's have some fun. Let's do Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
But do it in a different way. And so the idea is that the first floor will be, a newer take on Korean barbecue. We're going to have some live fire elements. That way it's true to I think the sense of place and really wanting to cook in that style, which is from me cooking at the Charter Oak, and Meadowood was also live fire as well. So,
and then the Palms was originally somewhere where you would grill your own.
The Palms was used to be a steakhouse ish, I guess. And they used to have this grill in the middle of the dining room, and you would you would order your steak and you would walk it up to the grill and you would grill the steak yourself. And so, but people love the Palms. It is like an institution in Carp. And so,
yes, it is.
It's okay, well, people are going to be really pissed if we, take away this grill. So what's a playful way that we can also, kind of let people still grill their own steak? And so it's perfect. Korean barbecue.
Yeah. You
can still grill your own steak.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little bit different, but we're gonna try to play a little a nod to it. And so, but also featuring, fresh produce from the farm.
And Californians love their produce.
We love our produce, and then, kimchis and different, all different ferments from the farm. Fresh seafood from, Santa Barbara is an amazing, location for seafood.
Yeah.
So how do we kind of take a Santa Barbara, California spin on Korean barbecue?
Yeah.
So that's the first floor. And then, we were touring the building and, there's this roof access. Okay, cool. So we all climb up to the roof and we're like, wow. It's a really nice view.
Pretty crazy view.
It's a really nice view.
Yeah.
we got mountains. You can see the ocean. You can almost kind of see down to Santa Barbara Harbor.
Yeah.
And we're it'd be really cool to have a bar up here. And so we're like, it's kind of it's a stretch. We weren't sure. There's nothing that's above 3 stories in Carp. So we're like, there's a chance that they say no, but hey, let's shoot our shot. Let's see if we can do it.
Technically a story.
Yeah. So we're like, hey, we went to the city planning, and we're like, we had this bar, and we're like, all right, what are people going to say? And people were blown away by it. And people super excited to be able to have something like that in the town. So
that's what I've learned about these approvals is you have to identify what that city council will enjoy, where they will enjoy hanging out, and then pitch something like that.
Yeah, they were all super stoked on it. the process it's been long. We're still in it. But we've actually moved through it about as quickly as we could. Like, we didn't get denied or anything. We pushed through, and every step of the way we kind of got approved. And so, yeah, we're excited. So roof bar, second floor fine dining restaurant that Daniel can really like show off his skills that he's learned, and then some fun, lively first floor Korean barbecue. So that's like the main project in Santa Barbara, and probably more to come. But we have enough on our plates with just that one.
There's nothing like any of these concepts within a reasonable different distance in like the Santa Barbara area.
Yeah.
So that's always something that's really exciting. It's really exciting to sort of experiment with the concept that's been so successful on the East Coast, on the West Coast, sort of reinterpreted through the West Coast, lifestyle and aesthetic, which is very different than the East Coast, like very different, which is so exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun challenge. I think, again, a lot of things in one building, a lot of concepts.
Yeah.
But exciting. It's scary and exciting.
Yeah.
And totally different feels. I think I think what we've done in New York is, in Tribeca has been super successful in that it's part of the community, and it's part of Tribeca.
Yeah.
And wanting to take that same feeling or the same style and drop it into Carpinteria, into Santa Barbara, but make it feel like it belongs in Carpinteria, and we're part of that community. We have it's like the playbook of like, hey, cool, we want to do coffee, we want to do fresh breads, fresh pastries, produce, all these different things, but want it to feel like California, and Carpinteria is a beachy town, and so wanting to make it have that sense of place is really important. So that's the fun of it. We get to play around, and we've now had this time for the last year and probably for the next year to like kind of become part of the community,
which is already happening so fast. Like every time I have just a passing chat with somebody, they know the Palms building, and they are thrilled that it is reopening. And you get suggestions from people. Oh, will you have this? Will you have that? Will you have this? And I'm like, I don't know. That's a question for the chef. Yeah, I'll put a word in. I got my haircut in Santa Barbara the other day, and I told the hairstylist, so that's going to be our soft launch. Cause when you tell the hairstylist, it's
going
everywhere. Yeah. And it's just really, the small town thing is such an interesting piece of it.
Yeah,
I think because we both grew up in small towns.
Yeah.
So, we're very familiar with that sort of like particular type of like fame or recognition that comes from that kind of thing. Are you excited about that to be more, because you're more known, perceived?
Yeah, I think being a small town, I think there's more pressure, I think, than almost being in New York and being in a larger environment where it's like, this is something that people really care about. And this is like a main, like they have the main drag on in Carp. And so we're taking one of the iconic buildings of their town. And so there's pressure there, and we want to make sure that it's, something that everyone enjoys and can be a part of. And so there's a lot of pressure. And we, it's good and bad. I definitely feel it. But I think the people that we brought onto the team and the way that we're going about it, I think hopefully is the right way. And I think people are really excited for the Palms to reopen. And time will tell.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
As it always does.
Yeah.
So we, Endwell, we're coming out of the gate with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sort of properties or concepts or whatever, including the 2 farms, which is not an insignificant number of projects. How do you keep all that straight in your head?
I'm not quite sure. It's definitely a lot. I think it's a fun challenge. I think the additional challenge being that they're on different coasts.
Yeah.
So the travel piece and just like trying to stay connected is hard.
Trying not to text the California team at 4 o'clock in the morning on accident because it's a normal time here.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah. Being on East Coast time when I'm on West Coast, it's, there's definitely challenges. But I think it's a lot, but we're also, I'm really excited about the team that we're building. It's really important to me to be very particular with who we're bringing on at this point. Because with the team so small, one wrong piece can really cost you.
I love what you said about like being really particular with the team, because I think that in, you know, a startup or a new company or whatever, people get really stressed and overwhelmed and want to get things off their plate, and they just sort of start hiring, and they'll hire some of the first people that show up at the door. And that's really detrimental when you're trying to build a culture.
Yeah.
So is there anything like in the hospitality industry or restaurant industry at large that you're kind of trying to address with starting your own company?
I think, of course, I mean, I think when you've been in the industry, or, you know, you see things done, and there's certain things that you see that people do really well. And also things that you see when you're working, and that you're like, wow, when I have the opportunity, I'm definitely not going to do it that way.
Period.
And when you are now in the role to actually make it happen, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And
Especially when you're raised in those kind of like not great environments, basically. You know?
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate to work at amazing restaurants that had good culture, and had great experiences. Of course, learning moments, but of course having aspirations. Like, I want to, you know, be different in the industry. I want to, like, if I were to do it once and do it right, like, this is how I want to do it. And so, you know, I think wanting to change the culture of restaurants, and, you know, it's really hard. Wanting to pay people, you know, living wages, give people health insurance, have people not work 80-hour weeks, you know, and really trying to take care of people. It's, you know, those are all things that I care about. And so it's a constant balancing act of, okay, we need to do those things. And it's also, I'm running a business, and I need to, like, make sure that, you know, the bills are getting paid, and that, so it's a balancing act of how much can we do to support people, and support the team, but also, you know, if I go too far one direction, then no one has jobs, and there's no restaurants.
Right.
So that's the game that we're playing.
No pressure.
Yeah.
What's some advice that you would give someone that's interested in a hospitality career, whether that's something like you or like a chef?
Do it all. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. You know, start at the bottom, and really get that perspective. Like, without question, the most valuable thing that I think that through my experiences is go be the dishwasher, go be the prep cook, go serve tables, go be a host, you know, go do those things. Because if you want to open your own restaurant, or you want to go down this path, you need to kind of know how to do it all. Yeah. And you also need to know how to lead people in those roles.
It also helps get people to take you seriously, because anyone can get, you know, a bunch of money and start opening stuff. Sure. But like, the fact that you have done these things before means that you have a little bit of, like, I guess social capital in those conversations. If you're like, you need to do it this way, I've done this before, this is the way we're doing it, it's a lot easier to, like, accept that as the person doing the job than if you were like, you had no idea what you were doing. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, or you had never done it before, and you were like, do it this way. Well, who is this guy? You know, is that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's also, once you're in that role, once you're in a management role, it's also like, get your hands dirty. Yeah. Do the job. I think, you know, if you want people to do something a certain way, show them how to do it, and go and do that every day. If you want people to go walk around the building and you know, pick up trash and make sure that the property is gorgeous all the time, well, then you need to be walking around the building, picking up trash and leading by example.
Don't you walk past that napkin on the floor and expect someone else to do it.
Yeah, it's like, I think you always have to be willing to put in the time and work beside your team to, like, again, there is that sweat equity that, like, you need to show. I think it's really important in leading, and there's no job that's too small.
I was going to say there's an aspect of like humility or being humble that definitely comes into play, especially if you're really young. Well, I guess that's both options, right? You're really young or you're coming from a different career path. You know, I've met lots of people that come from like finance. So they, to me, those are people that generally have some kind of ego. They're proud of what they've accomplished. They're very qualified and capable people, but they have to quite literally start at the bottom, no matter how old they are or how good they were at their last job. And you have to accept that you're going to mess up and that there are going to be consequences for messing up. And they do it anyway. And they end up with these like wonderful careers. And it's incredibly inspiring.
Yeah, well, I think that's like the beauty of restaurants is that like your work is displayed immediately. Like it's not like, you know, other people's works or like jobs, you know, where it's like if you're an architect, like, okay, cool, like it's going to be years before you see your building get built. But like in a restaurant, it's like, cool, like, you know, if you're cooking, like you're putting that dish up 20 times tonight.
Yeah.
So you have 20 opportunities to like perform and to do it.
Yeah.
And that's super, you know, it's very rewarding. It's immediate satisfaction, or immediate, you know, or like, you know, peril.
Failure.
Yeah. Or failure. Yeah. So it's, that sense of it, it's, you know, it's what makes this industry so different, but also makes this industry so great.
Yeah. It's kind of an equalizer as an industry. You can be from anywhere.
Yeah.
And any kind
it
of
shows up
person.
on the plate. It's like, it's truly about your hard work pays off. You get what you put in.
Yeah. Would you say that's like your guiding mantra or sort of like, do you have one of those?
I don't know if I have one.
Yeah,
I'm definitely, I think, you know, I used to have, when I was working at Meadowood, I used to, you know, have written on my mirror, it was just, you know, head down, work hard.
Oh, I like that one.
It was, you know, don't complain, just work hard. And that was just like, that's something that like comes from my dad. It was just like, you know, humility and just like, just work hard. If you do those things, you'll be successful. And yeah, I think I guess starting in the industry, like if you do those things, like I think you will be successful. I think there's certain times where you do need to speak up and obviously speak up for yourself and all those things for sure.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like learning and doing things, sometimes you just got to like push through it and you just got to work. And I am a strong believer that if, you know, there's nothing you can't, like no one's going to outwork me. I may not be the most talented. No, it's just like, it's going into that with a mentality where it's like, I may not be the most skilled. I might not be the most talented. Yeah. Someone might be better at something but you're not going to outwork me. Like I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to put the time in and that's it. Like that's just how I don't know, from whether it be school, cooking, like whatever, like you're not going to outwork it. Like if you do those things, you'll be successful.
Yeah. What are our sort of core values at Endwell that you want to display?
Core values. I think, you know, general wellness is something that I think we're striving for. I think it works with obviously the name Endwell too.
With all of our, you know, healthy produce.
Yeah, I think it's doing things the right way.
Yeah.
In all aspects. So whether it's, okay, we're going to farm in the right way, we're going to do it regenerative, we're going to be organic, we're going to be no-till, all these different things. I truly, that's the guiding light. It's just like, if everyone comes in and does the right thing and like does it the right way, whether it be folding napkins, polishing glassware, you know, cutting chives, if you take the time and do it right.
Do it right is a good little like on the wall in the kitchen thing. That's a nice one.
Yeah, just like, I mean, if you do every little thing right, then the big things will be right.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a huge piece of it. I think humility is a big part too. I think it's just like, again, we're, you know, working together and collaboration and, you know, sometimes you're gonna have the best idea, sometimes you're not. But
sometimes the best idea isn't possible based on the context that we're in right now.
Yeah. And so working together, I think collaboration is a huge piece. And again, we're a collection of everything together. Like the restaurant isn't one person. It's not one thing. It's like for One White Street, it's 66 people working together every day. For the market, it's 35 people working together every day. And if one piece is, failing, then we all fail. And so, that togetherness, that unit, that's, it's really important to like keep that in our head all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with all these that's a lot of teamwork right there.
A lot of teamwork.
So we have, talked about these individual concepts. Up until now, the concepts in New York have kind of been free agents floating, and we're using Endwell to unify everything and help us, make sure everyone is taken care of and the stories are getting told the right way and everyone's working together. So where did the name Endwell come from?
So Endwell came from, it's my hometown. It's where I grew up. So I grew up in Endwell, New York. It's a suburb of Binghamton. And Endwell is actually, it's actually a shoe.
Okay.
So the town I grew up with is the next town over is Endicott. And there used to be a huge shoe factory, Endicott Johnson Shoes.
Okay.
And so big manufacturing town. And so they one of their most popular shoes was called the Endwell. And so when they were basically building more housing for their workers, they built the suburb of Endwell. And so it basically between Endicott Johnson Shoes and IBM, which is also like in that area, was like kind of like the foundation of my whole hometown.
Oh my God. Little Northeast industry town. We love it.
Yeah. So everything in that town in Endicott is from EJ Shoes. I mean, they were an incredible company that really took care of their workers. They had something called it was like the home of the square deal, where it was basically welfare capitalism, and they basically were building communities and building pools and parks and carousels and houses and building these communities for their workers.
Wow.
And it's super inspiring, and I think it didn't really hit me until I was like really thinking about this company, that these are all values that I really care about too, and like being able to provide for the team and for what we're building. And so it all kind of works out, and Endwell, it is this, a very soft place in my heart. And I love my hometown, and also works as a hospitality name too. I think we're all trying to end well, end every day well, end every meal well.
Eat well, live well, be well, end well.
Exactly. So it just kind of works.
Yeah.
Just kind of works.
I love it.
Yeah.
We've talked about your dad a little bit too, and how your relationship to him has played into this and how you approach all of this. Can you expand on that a little?
I think my dad is a huge influence on me. From think just character and different things that just being around him growing up, you just catch things. And so one of his favorite trees was a ginkgo tree. I had a ginkgo tree in my backyard growing up. And my father passed in 2021, and I think this is a way for me to kind of honor my father. And so, the logo for Endwell Hospitality is a ginkgo leaf.
It's gorgeous.
And by coincidence, there's, two trees out front of One White Street. And guess what they are?
Ginkgo trees.
They're ginkgo trees.
Yes.
Just really weird. And there's ginkgo trees at Rincon Hill Farm. Ginkgo is a important part of the farming process that we're using is jadam. They use ginkgo as part of that process. And so, it just it all kind of came together.
It's a little spooky.
Yeah, it's weird. And so it just made sense. And so that's kind of like the main motif of Endwell. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That is so wonderful. How was, we've talked about how the fine dining concept and the first floor are going to have a Korean influence, Korean twist. How was growing up somewhere like upstate New York as a Korean American? How did that go for you?
I was definitely, I think there was maybe like 3 or 4 other Asians in my class growing up, like 210 kids, I think were in my class. So yeah, it definitely was like not like the norm. And so I think growing up, I did not really embrace my Korean side. I really, my mom is English and Scottish and grew up in South Jersey. And so I think I definitely tended to gravitate more towards that side and that identity more than my Korean side. And so it's funny how you grow up and things kind of change in your head. And I think when I moved to California after graduation, I finally was really around more Koreans in my life by coincidence. And was around also Koreans that really just embraced their heritage. Chef Kat, Katiana Hong, who is the executive chef of the Charter Oak, Korean, also grew up in upstate New York, was adopted, but, Korean, upstate New York, in a white family, and was so inspiring to me as a leader, as a person, just really because she was trying to find her heritage too, and really was like, it meant a lot to me. And I also had like a couple other Korean friends that I was cooking with. Daniel's Korean. I was like around these people, and like everyone just like really is like embracing that side of them. And I like for my entire life had, kind of shunned that piece. I was just like trying. It wasn't something that I really embraced, and it was, I think 2017, 2018, 2019, like this time I was like, wow, like I value this thing that makes me different so much more now.
Because being different is awful growing up.
Yeah, you just want to fit in.
Yeah,
like
nobody in high school, especially middle school, wants to be different.
Yeah, I just want to look like everyone else. I'm just like everyone else. Like why do I get treated different? And so there's definitely things growing up. I was different. Did I get bullied for certain things? Like, yeah, sure I did. So it wasn't something that I wanted to embrace. But. And it's also, I feel bad because, it's like my dad is such a proud Korean as well. And I think growing up with that and not embracing it, like I look back, I'm like, wow, I was an idiot. But I think also, I think growing up and just spending more time with my dad too, was just like, and learning to cook Korean food and like talking to him about that was like it was something that we shared very closely, and it meant a lot to me. And so I think for, Korean food at the Palms, it's a way for me to kind of like tap into my roots a little bit more. And for Daniel's sake too, I mean, Daniel's a Korean that grew up in California. And that shows up on the plate. It does. And like, I think this is the first time that he'll really be able to lean into that, a little bit more than he has in the past. And it really is the culmination of both of our lives, where it's, we both cooked in California. We have this Korean piece, and taking that influence and putting it in Santa Barbara and melding the two together it's who we are. And I'm really excited to kind of see what we come up with and what we put together.
Well, like I said, the town of Carpinteria, the city of Santa Barbara, they're excited too. About the whole thing. They love some new stuff out there, and they need some new stuff. I love what's out there. I love what's already happening, but freshen it up, wake things up a little bit. Kind of, maybe a restaurant that's open till 10 instead of 8. Get crazy.
Carp's a sleepy town.
It's a sleepy town.
Which is my speed. I'm in bed before 9 most nights, so like that works for me. But I think it'll be California Korean. I think what is that? And being a part of Carp and making sure that that's a part of it too. So.
Is there something food-wise that you have talked about with Chef Daniel that you're already excited about that you're going to be offering?
I'm definitely excited about all the ferments.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I think we're building out a whole fermentation room at the farm, so that way we can make sure we're utilizing all the product that we're producing. And Daniel last year got to learn from like the queen of kimchi making in Korea.
Fancy.
And so he's already started to make a lot of kimchi with the cabbage.
I saw her on a show.
Yeah,
was she on like a competition show?
Yeah,
I watched that. Very good.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, it's very exciting.
So she's super well known, and he was like, hey, like I have this opportunity to learn how to make kimchi with like whether should I do it? I'm like,
What do you mean, should I do it?
Absolutely, you should do it.
Daniel.
And no, his kimchi is amazing. And so I think I'm really excited for the kimchi and for all the different kind of new takes on ferments and using Korean techniques, and also a lot of the fermentation techniques that we learned at Meadowood, and again, trying to utilize everything that we possibly can.
Are we going to see you in the kitchen at all? Can you get back there and cook?
Maybe.
Oh.
I will say that I was not the best cook. I leave it to the professionals.
You strike me as someone that's very hard on yourself based on the substance.
I can
of
get
this
it
interview.
done. I can do the job, but I would much rather. I think people would much rather eat Daniel's food than my food.
Thank you so much for listening. Next week, I'll introduce you to Chef Daniel Kim, the executive chef for our California projects. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'm your host, Jack Dahlia, and on behalf of everyone at Endwell Hospitality, remember, be well, eat well, live well.